Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Dandus pranams to all the devotees. To take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you for the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. I hope my voice is audible. Okay, so today we have His Grace Murali Prabhu, who is going to share the nectar with us on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I, on behalf of everyone, I'm inviting Murali Prabhu to kindly take over and then share the nectar with all of us. Puji, thank you so much for giving your association. Welcome, and over to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's audible, Prabhu?
Yes, you are audible, Prabhu.
No. So nice. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to purify myself by reading Srila Prabhupada purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much. We'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, text number 17 and 18. The subject matter on the activities of pratisas. So, before we are entering into today's verse, so far what it has happened, that is a explanation by Maitreya Muni. The sons of King Parchinavari, known as pratisas, underwent severe austerities within the sea water to carry out the order of their father by chanting and repeating the mantras given by Lord Shiva. They were able to satisfy Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in that process. At the end of 10,000 years of severe austerities performed by pratisas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to reward their austerities, appeared before them in his very pleasing form. This appeals to pratisas and satisfy the labor of their austerities. So much, 10,000 years they did. The Supreme Personality of Godhead told them, "My dear sons of King, I am very much pleased by the friendly relationship among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation. That is what? Devotional service. I am so pleased with your mutual friendship that I wished you all good fortune. Now you may ask for a benediction from me." Meanwhile, Supreme Lord is also requesting them or instructing them. A daughter born of sage Kandu and a heavenly society girl, Premaloka, kept by her mother in the care of trees, and the girl has been protected by the moon god. The Supreme Lord instructed pratisas to marry her. This was up to the previous what is happening in this particular chapter. So today's verse number 430:17. Divya Varsha Sagasranam Sahasram ahatau jasa bhuman bhyoketa bhogan vai divyam chanugrahan mama divyavarša sagasranam sagasram ahatahu jasa bhuman bhohaishata bhogan vai divyam chanugrahan mama. Divya of the heavenly planets, Varsha years, Sagasranam of thousands, Sagasram a thousand, Ahata without being defeated, Ojasa your power, Bhuman of this world, Bhokshata you will enjoy, Bohan enjoyment, why certainly, Divyan of the heavenly world, Cha also, Anugrahat by the mercy, Mama my. So, translation by and purport by Divyan Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Lord has been blessed, all the prasadas, saying, my dear prince, by my mercy, you can enjoy all the facilities of this world, as well as the heavenly world. Indeed, you can enjoy all of them without hindrance and with full strength for 1 million celestial years. Purport: the duration of life prescribed for prasadas by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is calculated by the time measurement of higher planetary system. Our 6 Earth months are said to be equal to 12 hours of higher planetary system. 30 days equal to 1 month and 12 months equal to 1 year. In this way, for 1 million years, according to the calculation of the higher planetary system, the prasadas were allowed to enjoy all kind of material facilities. Although this lifespan was so long, the prasadas were given full bodily strength by the grace of the Lord. In the material world, if one wants to live for many years, he must endure the difficulties of the old age, invalidity, and many more miserable conditions. The prasadas, however, was given full bodily strength to enjoy material facilities. This special facility was given to prasadas so that they could continue rendering full devotional service. This will be explained in the next words, the following verse. Verse number 430-18 for today. Athamai anapayinya bhaktya pakva gunasaya upayasyata maddama nirvidya niryatata athamai anapayinaya bhaktya pakva gunashaya upayashyata maddama nirvidya nirayatata. Atha, therefore, mayi, unto me, anapayinaya, without any deviation, bhaktya, by devotional service, pakva guna, free from material contamination, ashaya, your mind, upayashyata, you will attain, maddama, my abode, nirvidya, being completely detached, nirayat, from material existence, atha, thus. Thereafter, you will develop unadulterated devotional service unto me and be freed from all material contamination. At that time, being completely unattached to material enjoyment in the so-called heavenly planet as well as the hellish planets, you will return home back to Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. By the grace of Lord, the prasadas were given special facilities. Although they could live millions of years to enjoy material facilities, they will still would not be deviated from the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Being thus fully engaged, the prasadas would be completely free from all material attachment. Material attachment is very strong. During one's lifetime, a materialistic materialist engaged in acquiring land, money, friends, society, friendship, love, and so on. He also wants to enjoy the heavenly planet after the annihilation of the body. If one is engaged in devotion service, however, he becomes unnatural to all kind of material enjoyment and suffering. In the material world, those who are elevated to the higher planetary systems are supposed to enjoy all material facilities, whereas those who degraded to lower planetary systems are supposed to live in a hellish condition. A devotee, however, is transcendental to both heavenly and hellish conditions. According to Bhagavad Gita, a devotee's position is described in this way. Mam choya vibhacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samityane brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances, at once transcend the mode of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. A devotee is always situated in Brahman platform. He has nothing to do with the material happiness or distress. When one is strongly fixed in devotional service and free from all material attachment, uncontaminated by the material modes of nature, he becomes fit to return home back to Godhead. Although by special blessings of the Pratyadasware enjoy material facilities for millions of years, they would not be attached to them. Thus, at the end of their material enjoyment, they would be promoted to the spiritual world and return to Godhead. The word Pavaka Gunashaya has special significance, for it means that by devotional service, one is able to give up the influence of three modes of material nature. As long as one is influenced by the mode of material nature, he cannot return to Godhead. It is clearly explained that all planets in this material world, beginning from Brahmaloka down to the hellish planets, are unfit places for a devotee. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. A place where there is danger in every step is certainly not comfortable place. The Lord therefore says in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhavana loke punarravartino Arjuna mam vivaitetu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in this material world down to the lowest, all are place of miseries, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attained to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Thus, there is no profit. Even if one promoted to the higher planets in this material universe, Brahmaloka, however, if one is somehow or other promoted to the abode of the Lord, he never returns to the material world. This sends the translation purport by His Divine Grace for this particular verse. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnana Janasalakaya Tashurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sabinam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Rati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yudapatagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Sri Rubam Sakarajadam Sagana Ragunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vidamcha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gobesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhasya Kripa Sindhupye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachyata Desasarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratuje Namaha Nama Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Idaya Cha Chaitya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara, Sri Vasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, in this particular verse, Prasadas were advised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to live for a long life. And it is stated after that they are enjoying their life in heavenly planet and the hellish planet. Why it is hellish planet is indicated here. It is the similar thing it is going to happen. There is not much of a difference between the heavenly planet and hellish planet. You will have to live here. The three modes of material nature are going to affect all of us, whether you are living in this heavenly planet or in the hellish planet. Unless otherwise we reach to the supreme abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abhirma bhavana loke punaravirtino arjuna mamu vetetu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Unless otherwise we reach to that particular place, the Supreme Personality of Godhead's residence, we will not be in a position to get out of this, the impingement of the three modes of material nature. Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Satviguna. All these guna, this world is bound by these three modes of material nature. Each and every living entity bound by that. For that, we require full surrender to the Supreme Lord to get back home, back to Godhead. Unless the full surrender is there, it is very, very difficult. It is stated, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with the material lust, who are freed from dualities or happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered by know how to surrender to the Supreme Person, attain that eternal kingdom. They only can attain. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinirvita kama dvandvair vimuka sugadukka samjaneir grachanti amuda padam avyayam tat. Bhagavad Gita 15.5, it states, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, and understand the eternal, they only, and they will come out of the dualities of happiness and distress, and not bewildered by anything, and surrender fully to the Supreme Lord, then only they will be in a position to enter into the kingdom of Supreme Lord. That is what is very clearly stated. This is a surrendering process. It is explained very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by the pride. Because the conditioned soul is puppet of thinking himself the Lord of the material nature. It is very difficult for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By a chance, if you get a good job, right? It's a chance, and you got a good income, then you will be thinking immediately you will be the topmost man in the world, right? And that is the way, the modes of nature, it will bind you in that way only. By supplying you so many facilities, it will go on bind you. So we should understand all these facilities, what is given by the material nature, it is a trap rather than for your enjoyment. The enjoyment what you are going to have, that is going to be totally temporary. That's what you should understand. It is very difficult for him to understand the surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know that by cultivation of the real knowledge that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a Lord, that we should understand. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin to process the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, it is not a long time. Somebody goes away in 30, somebody goes away in 70, somebody even a fetus die in the mother's womb. And so this is what the condition of life, this is a duration of life. He has a foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. He does make all things complicated. We ourselves making it complicated. And he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under this same impression. It is not one. Everyone, mass illusion. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to the human society. Whether this land is belong to human society, or earth is belong to human society, no. And they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. They think, this is my 30 by 40 site, this is my 60 by 40 site, this is my 1 acre land, this is my 10 acre land, this is India, this is America. Everything they're getting divided. One has to get out of this false notion of human society is a proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free from all the false association caused by familial, social, national affections. All this is affection. It is either you connected to your family or to your society or to the nation, thinking that you are the great performer of things. This is the way you are getting trapped. This faulty association bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what actually is not. Nothing in this material world belongs to you. And when one has an understanding of these things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conditions, conceptions, such as happiness and distress. He will not feel bad, pleasure or pain. He will not feel. He becomes full in knowledge. That is, then it's possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he will get the opportunity to go back to the Lord's abode. Abrahma Bhavanaloge Punaravarjano Arjuna. So that particular place he will go, then he will not return. And there also he engaged in the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Sorry. Lord abode, in such a way it is explained by the Lord himself. When one gets the chance to go there, he will never come back. That's what it is stated. Na dat bhashyato suryo na sanshako na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama. Taddama paramam mama. Yadgatva na nivartante. When you go there, there is no return. No feeling like coming back. The supreme abode of mind, Lord says, he is illuminated by the sun, neither by sun nor by the moon, nor by electricity or fire. Those who reach it never return to this material world. The explanation of spiritual world is given in so many places. Even if you take Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Kanam, where he lives, Sindhamani Pragatsu Kalpa Vrisha Lakshabadesu Sovravi Rapipalayantam Lashmi Sakasra Sadasam Pramasevyamanam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kavandam Maravindadaya Daksham Vargavatam Adhidambuda Tundarangam Kandarpagodi Kamaniya Visheshobam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So there is a wonderful explanation about the Supreme Lord's abode. The spiritual world, the abode of Supreme Lord Krishna, which is known as Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavana, is described. In the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, electricity, because all the planets are self-luminous. We have only one planet in this universe, that is Sun, which is self-luminous. But all the planets in the spiritual sky are self-luminous. The shining effulgence of all these planets constitute the shining which is in the sky, which is known as Brahmajyoti. Actually, the effulgence is emanating from the planet of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavana. Part of the shining effulgence is covered by the Mahatattva, which will not be entering into this material world. So, other than this, the major portion of shining sky is full of spiritual planets, which is called Vaikuntha, chief of which is called Goloka Vrindavana, all that we know. As long as living entity in this dark material world, he is in a conditioned life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false perverted tree of the material world, he becomes liberated. Thus, there is no chance of him coming back here. Abhirma Bhavanaloke Punaravarjano Arjuna. This is the conditioned life. The living entity considers himself to be the lord of this material world, but in his liberated state, he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of Supreme Lord. There he enjoys eternal bliss, eternal life, and full of knowledge. Satchit Ananda. One should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to the eternal world and extricate himself from the false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached to this material world, it is difficult to cut the attachment. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, there is a chance of gradually become detached. One has to associate himself with the devotees, those who are in Krishna consciousness. One should search out the society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. There are so many services available in the temple, right? If you enroll in that, then you are bound by the material things. It will be gradually, it will be relieved. In this way, he can cut off the attachment to this material world. One cannot become detached from the attraction of the material world simply by dressing himself in any color, a blue color, yellow color, saffron color. Even if you do, that is not going to give you. You wear tilak, nothing, it is not. But you will have to act. He must become attached to the devotion service of the Lord. Therefore, one should take very seriously the devotion service. It is all explained in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What is the devotion service? A few of that we will go through. And it's also in the 14th chapter, what is the contamination of all kind of process of the material nature. Both this little we'll go through. So the Lord is explaining here, Taddama Paramam Mama are very important here. Actually, every nook and corner is a property of Supreme Lord, but the spiritual world is Paramam, full of six opulence. It is stated in Katha Upanishadu, Na Tattar Suryo Batina Chandra Tarakam. The whole spiritual sky is illuminated by the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. That is, the supreme abode can be achieved only by the surrender and by no other means. So surrender is most important. So for surrendering or reaching the Supreme Lord, Lord gives in Bhagavad Gita the various ways and means by which one can reach him. A few of that for our remembrance, we should go through that. He says, Yatu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayante upasate tesamaham samuddrata mrityu samsara sagarat bhavamina chiratpartha mayi avasthita chedasam. By those who worship me, giving up all the activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their mind upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the sweet deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Mrityu samsara sagarat. From the Teshamaham samriddha mrityu samsara sagarat. For I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of the birth and death. That's Lord what it says. He further says, just fix your mind upon me. The Supreme Lord says, just fix your mind upon me and engage all the intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without doubt. You can fix your mind upon me without deviation. Then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you can develop desire to attain me. So he is giving so many means. If you cannot practice regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just to try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Lord further says, if you, however, unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up the result of your work, Nishkamya Karma, and try to be self-situated. If you cannot take this practice, if you cannot do the Nishkamya Karma, then engage yourself in cultivation of knowledge, Bhakti, Jnana Yoga. Better than knowledge is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruit of action. By such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. And while telling all that, how you will have to live, that also he is mentioning. Advesa sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukka sugachami sanduscha tatatam yogi yadatmat dridha nichaya mayi arpida Manobuddhir, Mayi Arpita Manobuddhir, Yomat Bhakta Samay Priya. Who is dear to him? That he says, one who is not envious, but kind friend of all living entities, who does not think himself as a proprietor or free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Nirmamo nirahankara samadukha shami santusta sadadam yogi yadatma dhrada nichaya mayi arpida manobuddhi. All your mind and intelligence dedicated to me. Yo makta samay priyaha. That devotee is very, very close to me. He by whom, and other places he was telling what is the condition we will have to live. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Who are all very close to him, he is telling. So that by understanding these, we will have to cultivate this type of characters. Yasma nivito loke, loka nivijite yaya. That is, nobody put into difficulties by anyone and not disturbed in the mind and free from fear and anxiety. It is stated. And those people are very close to him. A few devotees' qualification, it is described, no one is put into difficulty, anxiety, fearfulness, or dissatisfaction by such a devotee. Since a devotee is kind to everyone, he does not act in such a way to put others into anxiety. At the same time, if others trying to put him into anxiety, he is not disturbed. It is by the grace of the Lord that he is so practiced that he is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. Actually, because a devotee is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service, such material circumstances cannot move him. Generally, a materialistic person becomes very happy when there is something for his sense gratification and his body. But when he sees the others have something for their sense gratification and he has not, he is sorry and he becomes envious. Others are having, I am not having. When he is expecting some retaliation from an enemy, he is in the state of fear. When an enemy comes and tries to threaten him, he is under fear. And he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. So you are trying something, you want to achieve something. If you cannot achieve something, then we become dejected. A devotee is always transcendental to all these disturbances. If it happens, happen because it is by the grace of the Lord. If it is not happening, that is destiny to me. It is the Lord doesn't like to me this to happen to me, right? So we should not be envious. We should not fearful, and you should not get dejected. Then only the qualification of a devotee is coming. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is dear to me, Lord says. Lord is telling, Samasatru Shamitru cha tata mana apamanayo Sidoshna Sukha Dukkeshu Samasanga Vivirjita Tulya Ninda Studir Mauni Sandustayena Kanachit Aniketa Siramatir Bhaktiman Me Priyo Naraha. Bhaktiman Me Priyona. Out of the devotees, he is very close to me. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who does not care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotion service. Such a person is very dear to me. So this is the way, who are all very close, Lord is explaining. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotion service, who is completely engaged themselves with faith, making me as a supreme goal, they are very dear to me, the Lord says. To do all these, we should be in a position to transcend the three modes. That is very, very important. Gunanetat adityatrin deha dehe samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkair vimukto mrityum anushyate. Ashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and distress, and can enjoy nectar even in the same life. If you analyze, all the material activities involves action and reaction in the mode of material nature. They are meant for fruitive result, which cause bondage in this material world. Where Vedas deal mostly with the fruitive activities to gradually elevate to the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position of transcendental plane. If you see Arjuna as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is a Brahma Jignasa, Atato Brahma Jignasa, or question on the supreme transcendence. All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. He gave the Bible, he gave the manual how to do it. When the activities for sense gratification, namely Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance of spiritual realization is offered in the form of Upanishad, which are the part of Vedas. Bhagavad-gita is a part of the fifth Veda, namely the Mahabharata. The Upanishads marks the beginning of the transcendental life. As long as material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material mode. One has to learn tolerance in face of dualities, such as happiness and distress, cold or warm. By tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties, recording gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full in Krishna consciousness. When only one fully depend on the goodwill of Krishna, then only it will happen. See, it is stated, Traigunne Vishe Veda, Naitru Gunatano Bhavarjuna, Nirdvanto Nitya Sattvato, Niryoga Shama Atmavan. The Vedas are deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. Traigunne Vishe Veda. Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. That's what Lord advises. When we can also find there is a prayer by Guru Maharaj. We should go through that. There are great personalities like Kunti Devi's prayer, Prahlad Maharaj's prayer, Brahma's prayer, and Guru Maharaj prayer. These are the things, some of the things, this will give more insight to us how to live and what it will happen and how the way they pray. First, we should learn how to pray. So, in the Guru Maharaj's prayer, Ya Nivistis Tano Britam Tavapada Padma Janat Bhavaji Janakata Sravanena Yasayat Sa Brahmani Sa Mahimani Api Natama Bhut Kim Tu Antakashi Uliyat Patatam Vimanat. Patatam Vimanat. Translation, my Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from the pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda, wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from the devotion service, then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by separating sword of time. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planet, he falls down in due course of time. What he is trying to say, the impersonal Brahman and Brahmananda is defeated by the transcendental bliss, and going to the higher planetary system, what is the use? Even the Brahmananda is not happy. What is the use of going to the higher planetary system? The heaven planetary system which is lower than the Brahmananda. So this is the way the feeling of Guru Maharaj. It is explained here by Srila Prabhupada. The transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, primarily from the Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, cannot be compared to the happiness derived by karmis by elevating themselves to the heavenly planets by jnanis or yogis who enjoys oneness with the Supreme Personal Brahman. Yogis generally meditate upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, but devotees not only meditate upon him, but actually engage in the direct service of the Lord. The Lord can give relief from the chain of birth and death. Here it is clearly said that the transcendental bliss derived from Sravanam Kirtanam by pure devotee cannot be compared to the Brahmananda or the impersonal conception of the transcendental bliss derived from merging into the absolute. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has wonderfully given Seto Darpana Marjanam, Tava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pradipadam Purnamadastavanam, Sarvatma Sramanam Param Vijete, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. He has given the very clear way, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Always chant the glories of the Supreme Lord. Then by doing so, all the so many contaminations and from our heart, it can be cleansed, like how it can clear, dust is cleared from the mirror, the same way. But while doing that, chanting, we should avoid the 10 offenses, so many things. We will have to deeply go through what is the meaning of those offenses. We just cannot just chant and go away. We should understand that what it means. The place when the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. What it means? It means no devotee. Every devotee is working on propagating the holy name of the Lord. So none of the devotee we can endure, none of the devotee we can say ill about or envious about, right? We should be in a position to come out of gradually. It is not possible on one shot we will become a very saintly or very pure. We should go on practice. We will have to practice. Trinathapi suni chena tarorahi sagishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Each and every time we will have to try. I am trying. I am not telling that I am pure. I am trying each and every day. I am getting some contamination, but at the end of the day, I try to pray to the Lord. Please get me out of all this contamination. Trinathapi, give me the tolerance than a tree and humbler than a blade of grass. And Kirtaniya Sadahari, give me a mood to always chant the glories of the Lord 24 hours a day. So you should understand we are all karmis and we are all not great jnanis also, and we are more degraded, and our aim to elevate to higher planetary system, yanti devo tradavata devan, that's what you should know. Person who worship the demigods are elevated to heavenly planet. So what we are up to, we don't know. Thus we should be very, very careful on this thing. We should always think about the Lord and always remembering Krishna. Then we will be in a position to read about the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, we find Shine Punya Mrityu Lokam Vishanti. Those who are elevated to the higher planetary system must come down again as a result of their pious activities are exhausted. Whatever you do, whatever the things we are doing, so much of philanthropic activities, we may be elevated to the higher planetary systems. There also, after all these results are over, we will have to come back. So it is highly depending on how much we are serving the Supreme Lord, how much we are remembering the Supreme Lord. So that then only that will give Seto Darpana Marjanam. That only the continuous process of Seto Darpana Marjanam only will lead us to further to chant the Lord's name continuously, and it will make us to go back to Godhead. There are modern astronauts who are going, to the moon. As soon as the fuel is finished, the aircraft will come down. So we should understand the sword of time is, it will be very, very difficult to escape from the cut of the sword of time. See, so we always, what Dhuru Maharaj says, Dhuru Maharaj appreciated the result of devotion service, and far more valuable than merging into the absolute or being elevated to the heavenly planet. That's what he was mentioning. So in that way, we also should understand what is the requirement. We started this particular subject matter or these particular words, Prachina Bari, son Prasidas, they were doing thousands of years of the studies inside the water, and by the chance they have great devotees. That's why they are getting the association of Lord Shiva. Shiva is Vaishnavanam Itashampu. So they Shiva always try to help the devotees. So this is an example. He explained, he told them how to worship the Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that process, by the guidance of Shiva, they practice so many very good austerities and the prayers. By that, Supreme Lord appeared. Supreme Lord, after appearing, he given them instruction. He also given the instruction to Dhuru Maharaj also. He said, no, immediately you come back to me. He never said. He said, okay, you go and enjoy your kingdom because you come to me for you want a greater kingdom than your grandfather, Brahma. So I will give you. So you go and enjoy. And after you finish all your feelings about ruling the entire world, then you come back to me. Like that, he was instructing Dhuru Maharaj. In the same way, Prasadas were told to marry that society girl's daughter and live for a long time in that in this world, and then remember him, and by way of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Sevanam, Saikyam, Jasyam, Vandanam, Atma Nivedanam, like that, all the 9 prasa of bhakti as indicated by Prahlad Maharaj, they will have to, it was advised by him to come back to him after enjoying all the required things in this particular world. So this is the way that all these things were guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So further than that, we touched upon what is the abode of the Lord, and where where he lives, and how we can go there, and who is very dear to the Supreme Lord, and what are the characters they should have to become very closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when once go there, he will never come back. What is the situation in spiritual world? What is the situation of this material world? And why we get into this material world? The 3 modes of material nature, how it is binding us very strongly, how it is binding us and not allowing us to get out of this place. And we should understand the nature of this 3 modes of material nature, detach ourselves gradually by practicing the devotional service. Automatically the material nature can relieve us by practicing the how we can demagnetize, right? Go to the different pole, we can demagnetize. So the attraction for the material things can be removed from us by going to the spiritual understanding and doing the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God, starting with Shravanam. Shravanam is, as I indicated to you, Srila Prabhupada has given, through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, and the great acharyas were followed that, chanting regularly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this Kali Yuga, there is no other way. No other way. So that we know, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Iva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Gadiranyata. So we understood, and we are each and every day we are going and preaching to the outside world. All these things we are preaching. Is it not? We are going and telling them, Kali Yuga, there is no other way. For us also, we'll have to feel no other way. That when we feel that the preaching is for ourselves, then it will be first to purify ourselves, then we can try to convert this world into a better place for the people to live. So with this, I will close my little understanding about Srimad Bhagavatam's this particular verse, and supported purely by Srila Prabhupada's purports. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Thank you for the nice realizations towards the end, where you mentioned that we'll have, the whole thing is we'll have to preach to ourselves first rather than trying to preach to others. So nice, Prabhu. Thank you for those wonderful realizations. You also very nicely brought out the aspect of how the difference between the material world and the spiritual world, and how the Lord helps us in how the Lord is helping us, how merciful He is in making sure that we are finally reaching the destination of the Lord, and what we should aspire for, what are the various means through which we can attain, and then how, based on our current situation, like in the 12th chapter, how you nicely covered, if you cannot do this, then do this, or at least do this, so on and so forth. So we brought out those aspects very nicely. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Just open the lines for others. It's already open. So the devotees, you can share your reflections, or if there are any questions, I'm sure Prabhu will be happy to take them. So devotees, over to you all.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat
It was
Pranam
a
Prabhu.
very nice lecture about Prachetas, devotional service, everything Prabhu. Prabhu,
Hare
can you be kind enough to explain why Prachetas got the blessings from the Lord, which included hellic experience, Prabhu?
Yeah. See, the experience in this material world, this is a material world. Don't consider as a heavenly planet or a earthly planet or a planet below. Okay.
Yes.
All
Yes.
these are a material universe. Material universe, only one thing we talk about is whether to live in this material world or get out of the material world. Only thing. Wherever you live. That's why Prabhupada says it's like a rocket which is having the fuel. How much hour you go up, after finishing all that, you will have to come back to this thing.
Yeah.
See, we cannot claim that we will do always correct things. Some of the time, you will do even unknowingly. It is as a destiny or by our karma, previous karmas. We may have to do something bad. And with that, we will be in a position to go to hellish planet also. Hellish planet also, it is not a places where you go and live. That's nothing. This thing. If you see, Bali Maharaj is giving in one of the hellish planet only, below. Is it not? He is living.
Yes, Prabhu.
He is a wonderful
Yes.
devotee. Bali Maharaj is better than us or not?
Yes,
Is it not?
yes, Prabhu.
So
Oh, yes,
the
Prabhu.
same case as Pratisas also, if they will have to live in hellish planet, they will have to go. Lord will protect. Like how he is
Yes.
protecting Bali Maharaj, he is going
Yes.
and standing there as a gatekeeper for Bali
Yes.
Maharaj. He committed to that
Yes.
great devotee, Bali Maharaj.
Yes.
We are worshipping Bali Maharaj, is it not?
Yes.
So
Yes, yes.
that way happen. Anyway, this is nothing difference between hellish and heavenly planet. Both are same only. But a heavenly planet to give you more knowledge about the Supreme. Whereas hellish planet, there are chances for understanding is less. So we should be always in a place where we'll be in a position to go back. Even the heavenly planet people will have to come back to the earthly planet, like a Burloga. They will be in they will get a lot of chance to associate with the devotees and go back to Godhead.
Godhead.
What my understanding. If something is different is there, anyone can contribute to that.
So thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice explanation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu, Ravilochan Prabhu.
Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu. And, I mean, taking us to a deeper thing of how we can actually make progression, what will please the Lord, how we should actually act. That is very, very important. Thank you for sharing that particular very important aspect of how we can purify ourselves. Thank you, Prabhu.
Lord has given in I referred only Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, not outside any stories. Very important is because we are reading all these things. We are reading so many times. We read also, is it not? Each and every Gita Jayanti we are reading. Each Bhakti Shastrikos we are reading. But what it means to us, is it not? So it is not academic. It is we will have to practice in our practical life. Then how we can become very close to the Supreme Lord. And whom are the people, what type of people, what qualities of the people Lord likes. When we understand this again, then we will be in a position to follow that particular characters. That's what I thought.
Yes, Prabhu. Even in our day-to-day life, we normally want to be in the good books of some people. So we should think that we should be in the good books of the Lord. That's very important. Then everything is taken.
Yes.
Yeah, we have
See, Prabhu, in the material world, being in good books of the someone, what it means, it is for a return, for some type of return, right? It's most of the thing, most of the time. Except a relation between a mother and a son or mother and a child. Okay. Except this or a father and somebody. But except all these things, remaining thing, give and take. Give and take. I will give this, you give it back to me. There is a sense gratification only. All these other things which we are trying to satisfy somebody, this is for our sense gratification. We want something, we are aiming at something. With that notion only, we try to elevate somebody and try to surrender to them. But otherwise, and except Supreme Personality of Godhead, whatever you do it, all temporary. It will be here and it will go away after some time. Whether you please your boss or please your other people or anybody for that matter, it will be temporary, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
If there aren't any questions, then maybe we can conclude the session today.
Yeah.
Okay. So with Vaishnav pronouns, so Prabhu, please go ahead.
Vanchakalpataruvasya kripa sindhupyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananda Kodi
Namo
Vaishnava
namah.
ki jai. Amacharya Dasa Kur ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Prabhu.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Dandar Balaji Govinda Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dandar Pranam Mataji.
So I'll end the session for everybody. Thank you so much.